Of his records a couple of years ago. He's a fantastic guy, a fantastic supporter of what we're doing here tonight. How about a big Peterborough welcome for Mr. Neil Sanderson from 3 Days Grace, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Neil, for coming tonight.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me. I have an extra speech in my back pocket if this one blows away. My name's Neil Sanderson. I am from right here in Peterborough, from the North End. I graduated at Adam Scott at 96. Probably going to be cheering for the Lions tonight. I hope that's okay.
No.
I guess they're not home team right now.
What?
I've been a member of the band 3 Days Grace since I was 14 years old.
We're supposed to be better.
We were basically a garage band. Spent our time in Norwood and Peterborough just honing our craft. And by honing our craft, I mean like making undesirable loud noises in the garage. Since then, over the years, I've been extremely lucky to enjoy a lot of success in the music industry with my band 3 Days Grace. I've been able to live my dream. I get to travel the world. I have some money in the bank. I have a beautiful wife, healthy kids, a great life. And sometimes I feel really down. And I feel really down and out.
You don't like our seats?
Now, I used to get angry at myself for even having those feelings. I used to think, dude, how can you sit here and have the right to complain about your life or feel low when you have everything that a guy could ever ask for? And I used to get angry at myself, and I used to get frustrated, and I used to feel like I had no business thinking about those things. That was before I learned about all the crazy things that can be causing those feelings. Some of them are completely out of my control. Some of them have nothing to do with what's going on in my life, people around me, how much I'm loved, all the success. It doesn't matter sometimes. And these things were out of my control, and after knowing that, I feel more in control of my life. I know that thoughts are nothing but thoughts. Thoughts are going to come and go in your mind. And they're going to come and they're going to go unless you hold on to them. I know now that it turns out that it's a relief. If you're not feeling well and you tell somebody else that you're not feeling well, it's not a weird thing to say. You feel better after it every single time. It's not weird. I realize that anxiety and depression are only temporary things that I must face, just like so many other people face. They don't define my life. And a low point in my life, a low point in my mental state, doesn't define who I am either. It's only a hurdle to overcome, just like everything else in life is a hurdle to overcome. Now I just want to talk a little bit about anxiety. I believe that it's basically just worrying about the future. I think a lot of people will agree with that. We as human beings have this great gift of being able to make these mental models of the future, different scenarios that could happen in our future if we decide to do this, if we say no to that, if we make this decision and we don't make that decision, what's going to happen? And a lot of times we tend to focus on the worst things that could happen, worst case scenarios, which is generally a super scary scenario, worst case. Now, it's normal to play out in your mind what might happen in the future. That helps us make better decisions. It helps us to understand what might happen in the future. It helps us navigate our consequences, right? If you're thinking about, well, if I do that, that's probably going to not be a good idea. It helps us navigate the future. But with that constant loop of, what if I don't succeed? What if I'm not good enough? What if they don't like me? What if I'm a disappointment to somebody? What if I get sick? What if that big secret gets out? What if I lose? What if this, what if that? If you're what-ifing, and I think I just made up that word, what-ifing is not a word until now. If that takes over our whole thought process all of the time, then that causes you to have anxiety, and it can be absolutely crippling. Now, that crippling feeling can do a lot of things to your body and your mind, okay? It can distort your emotions. It can wear you down, tire you out, make you not want to get out of bed. It can make you numb to the stuff that's supposed to make you feel good. It can narrow your perspective on the world around you. And it can take away from enjoying the things that you used to love. You're suddenly living in this made-up future world, in this theater of your own mind that only exists in your head.
That's so rude.
And you're often, at that point, obsessing over all the worst things that could happen right around the corner. What a dreadful way to go through life, you know? Anxiety sucks. Can I put your hand up if you agree with that? Anxiety sucks. It does. And I have it, and I'm dealing with it. And knowledge is power. So I'll give you a 2-second, well, it'll be more than 2 seconds, but my anxiety went to new heights during my teens and early 20s. I lost both my parents before I was 20, and I had an older brother that was killed in an accident. But my anxiety doesn't come from some sort of like profound feeling of sadness at the loss of my family members. I've accepted that. It happened a long time ago. I've made peace with it. It's part of my life story, and it's made me who I am today. My problem is I have a chronic what if. And my what if is, what if I get sick and die young like my parents did, you know? What's gonna happen next? Oh God, the big C word, cancer, what is that? Heart attack, car accident, what could possibly go wrong? How would it make my wife feel if she heard the news? What would the kids do? It'd be an awful, awful, horrible thing for them to experience. They'd really miss me. All of these thoughts are extremely terrifying if you can't cope with them or get them out of your head somehow. And since I had experiences like that when I was young, it wasn't unreasonable for me to think that it could happen to me in the future. So my only option was to learn how to cope with those thoughts, because like I said, thoughts will come and thoughts will go. And to this day, I still have to wrestle that and try not to turn into a nervous basket case and try to live in the now. And it's something that I'm a work in progress. And everybody's in a work in progress. There's no finish line. It's a learning curve, and everyone's just figuring it out as we go. I want to talk a little bit just about a few thoughts that I have about depression. Depression is a huge subject that there are a lot of experts on it, and we could talk all night about it. It can come from a lot of directions. It can start from some sort of traumatizing event in the past that has stuck with you. You can't shake the feelings. Post-traumatic stress disorder, that's what we're talking about. You know, or maybe it's from being bullied too much in the past. The bullying crushed your self-esteem. You don't want to stick your neck out. You don't want to say anything for being ridiculed, being made fun of. That's what is keeping you down or in the dark. Maybe it's fear of being centered out or judged. Maybe you've wrestled with substance abuse. Maybe you've been a victim of some other type of abuse. All possible causes for depression. It's big, okay? Now, I'm not a medical professional by any means, but I am aware that sometimes you can't draw a line from depression back to any of that stuff. It's just simply there. It can be an imbalance of chemicals in your brain, not your fault, it just happens. Our brains are extremely complex. Our bodies are massively complex machines. We don't always know what's going on. We certainly don't always have control of it. You've probably heard of, serotonin and dopamine. I'm getting a little technical here, but those are two of the chemicals that are responsible for the feeling of general well-being. And they need to be kind of in balance in your brain. And if they're out of whack, you're out of whack. Simple as that. Sometimes you have no control over that, but recognizing it is powerful. It's really common for people to kind of have that chemical imbalance that throws them out of whack and they don't feel well, for young and old. And the fact that you and I can have that just happen to you suddenly without any explanation makes it extremely difficult to understand. You're like, okay, I woke up today, everything should be good, the sun is shining, I should be smiling, I want to get out of bed but I can't seem to, I can't describe to myself how or why I'm feeling like this, so why do I feel like crap today? What a frustrating thing to have to say to yourself and not know the answer to. I don't know what's wrong with me. That's even harder to communicate to somebody else, that there's a problem on the inside upstairs when you don't even know why there's a problem or even what the problem is. But what you do know is that you don't feel well. And that is enough. That's all you gotta know. I don't feel well. That's enough to tell somebody. Because any insight that you share to your inner circle is a massive step in the right direction for you not to feel like that anymore. Because sharing to anyone that you just don't feel well is enough information. I know it's hard to explain, that you can't describe or make sense of it, but you don't need to. Just say, man, I don't feel right. Because people that hear that are going to get on board who have been there before, or know someone who has. Maybe they're experts in mental health, or maybe they just simply love you. And they're going to support you no matter what. You know, more people face mental health challenges than we think. It's everywhere, okay? And it's a very brave and powerful thing to say to someone else you trust, yo, something's wrong with me and I don't know what it is. That is literally the first step. And it's not okay to keep that information to yourself when there's so many people out there who got your back. I was having coffee with Mr. David Pogue the other day, and he brought up a really good point that really stuck with me, and I want to talk about it a little bit. Why do we talk about and treat mental health any differently than physical health, okay? So we'll take scenario A. You wake up, you got an excruciating pain in your abdomen. You felt kind of like this before, but at the end of the day, it's gotten worse than you've ever felt. Nothing's taking it away. Now, throughout the day, just say this is a school day. How many people did you probably say, ugh, my stomach's killing me, I don't know what's going on? Probably a few. You probably told a couple friends. If it was really bad, maybe you texted home and said, I'm not feeling well. Maybe you told your teacher, I gotta go home early, something's wrong, my stomach hurts. You know, if that continues on at night, you don't get any better, you're probably gonna go to the doctor. You're probably gonna go to emerge at the hospital to make sure you're not experiencing some sort of pain that's actually a life-threatening ailment that's putting you at risk in a matter of hours. It's normal. Scenario 2. You wake up with excruciating pain in your mind. You've kind of felt like it before, but this is the worst it's ever been. It's the most severe emotional pain you've felt, and nothing is taking it away. Throughout the day, how many people have you likely told about that one? For a lot of people, 0. People keep it bottled up. Why is that? What's the difference? Because later that night, if you're still having excruciating emotional pain, you need to talk to somebody, a parent, doctor, nurse, someone at Emerge, because you may be experiencing a pain which could be life-threatening in a matter of hours. Okay? And I just want to say, for someone who finds himself in a support situation, asking straight up if someone is all right or not, if you see a red flag, is always better than letting time pass, because it could be urgent and time could be of the essence. It could be a pain which could be life-threatening in a matter of hours. Like, I don't know anybody who gets like a massive migraine headache and keeps it to themselves for a matter of days. They're up looking for Advil, right?
I do.
I don't even know people don't even keep their new diets to themselves. Everybody needs to tell you about what new diet they're on. But so why is it, of all things, it's the crippling personal inner suffering that we keep quiet to ourselves? It makes no sense. Why do we often choose to battle that alone? It's terrifying. It doesn't make sense. Why is it the only battle in human history where the total number of soldiers on both sides, a lot of the time, is one person? A battle fought by one. If I'm about to embark on a huge battle, I'm bringing a damn army with me, okay? Because I want to win. Bringing in the people you love and trust, all you got to do is tell them you're not feeling right. And I guarantee you, they're going to join the fight with you. Because there's strength in numbers, and people have your back. That's what people do, because people would want you to have their back for them if they needed you. In 2018, 2019, right now moving forward, there is absolutely no need to hesitate or be embarrassed to say what's going on in your mind. To say, hey, yo, man, dude, mom, dad, yo, stranger, I don't know. I'm not in a good place. I don't quite know what's up or how to explain it, but I am not feeling well right now. And if that's how you feel, that's all you gotta say. And yeah, there might be an uncomfortable conversation, maybe. But one uncomfortable conversation is a small price to pay for having somebody in your corner who knows what you're going through and will have your back while you're going through it. And there's so many people who have been there too. There are people out there who have won huge personal battles. And sharing battle stories and knowledge with one another has been proven throughout human history to win wars. I was just in Kenya, in Africa, on a little humanitarian trip, and witnessed people facing completely different challenges. You know, no access to drinking water, a lot of child protection issues, extreme poverty, drought, flooding, disease. But still, everywhere I looked, I saw hope. It was in their eyes. Kids were playing and smiling. Adults were working hard to survive, valuing their lives and futures enough to push through the extreme challenges, making use of what they've got with a deep belief that things are going to get better. And I was inspired down there. I used to be one of those people that kind of thought hope was a bit of a weird word. Hope. Like, I used to think, like, why just stand around and hope when you can get to work and try to get something done for yourself, you know? Use your hands and get it done. But down there I saw with my own eyes what hope actually looks like. Hope actually is the fight that you fight to survive no matter what. Because there's nothing we can't overcome. Because humans are meant to survive, even if it means fighting. And sometimes fighting sucks. But it's always worth it when you look back at the victory you fought and you won. My band 3 Days Grace recently put out a song called The Mountain, which it talks about pushing forward in your life no matter what. Even if you wake up back at the bottom, just look up and start walking. My band's always used songwriting as a form of therapy for ourselves and for our fans. So most of our songs are about identifying something in your life that's hurting you and trying to figure out how to make it better. When a fan comes up to the band and says, "Yo, this song changed my life." I've even heard, "This song saved my life." You know, I felt alone, but after I heard the lyrics of your song, I realized I wasn't the only person who thought this way. What a powerful connection that we as a band have such a privilege to have with our fans. It gives us purpose. If 3 Days Grace has a purpose in this world, then that is it. When someone says that to me, mission accomplished. Even the band name 3 Days Grace, it stands for a sense of urgency. If you had 3 days to change the things in your life that are bringing you down, or holding you back, or an imminent danger to you, what would you do? Here's your chance to do it. We can do it together. And I want to just close out by saying that definition of the band name has a lot of parallels with the reasons why we're all here tonight. What Team 55 stands for, the goals that David Pogue and his team are driven towards achieving. We urgently need to open up the dialogue about the things in our lives that are bringing us down, that are holding us back, and that are putting us in danger. So here's our chance. We can do it together. How are we going to do it? We're going to start by talking. Thank you.